Hey guys, welcome back. So I realized, I think we're on week number 10 in the semester. Time is literally like flying by. Like, where does the time go? So, being that this is week number 10 in my semester of my PhD program, I'm a third year PhD student, which means I only have 3 more semesters of coursework left. Like, oh my gosh. And I meet with my my clinical training director this Thursday, and we're gonna discuss. By the way, you guys like my necklace that I got? Handmade. I think this is from Senegal. Handmade. I love it. But and you can actually, I could like make it tighter, but I have it a little bit looser around my neck. But anyway. So I meet with the training director at my school, clinical training director, and this Thursday actually. My throat is like so dry. But I meet with her this Thursday, and we're going to discuss different options for my third practicum placement. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, already? Like, already? It just seems like it's moving way so fast. Time really flies. Right now, I'm in my second practicum placement in Inglewood. And so our meeting is going to be discussing my different options for my third practicum placement. So some of the things that we discuss is like the kind of population I want to work with, the type of clients I want to treat, based on like diagnoses or presenting problems, the type of setting, and I'm just like, where do I want to be for my third practicum placement? I don't know. I mean, there's so many different types of psychology, and granted, where I choose for my third practicum placement, wherever I'm going to be, that's going to factor into where I get placed for my 5th year APA internship. So, and the 5th year APA internship kind of sets the course for where I'm going to do my postdoc. And then, of course, the postdoc kind of sets the course for where I'm going to be professionally, like long term, as far as my career as a psychologist. So I'm wondering, like, dang, this is a critical moment. It's really critical because the APA internship is a match process that they do, and it's nationwide, you guys. So it's like I'm competing against other PhD students nationwide. This is really big, y'all. So I really have to be careful on where I choose to do my third prac, because this is the thing. They look at your previous prac experiences, and they want to see, like, let's say if I'm interested in working at a hospital, for example, doing testing, then they want to see what previous experience I've had doing testing in a hospital setting. Which, as of now, I don't have any experience. I mean, I have experience working in a hospital setting, but not doing testing. So they really look for that. If I wanted to work at a college counseling center, I'm going to have some experience working at a college counseling center, which I don't have any experience. Now, I do have experience treating college students and graduate students, but not in a college counseling setting. So it's going to be kind of tricky, because I'm just like, what in the world do your girl want to do? So in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about some ideas that I have for what kind of psychologist I want to be. Now, granted, I am in a PhD in a clinical psychology program, so I know that I'm going to be doing clinical work, but at the same time, even though I'm getting a degree in clinical psychology, doesn't necessarily mean that I have to do clinical work. So I'm trained to do it, but I don't necessarily have to work in a clinic or a hospital setting. So just looking at myself and looking at my interests, I know that I want to effect change in groups of people, more like on a macro level, more preferred, I guess, as opposed to the micro level and working with individuals. So I do know that much. And I'm thinking, granted that my undergraduate major was in social psychology, I'm just gravitating more towards the social psych area. So, and I like to do research, right? So I can see myself in the realm of social psychology, or or even community psychology, working with community centers. I have a plan actually to open my own community center, which is I'm already in the process of developing anyway. Like, I've been doing that for many years. Working in the community, just period, like out on foot, being a staple in the community. What does that look like? Working with like marginalized populations, working with the homeless, working with hard to reach, so to speak, populations, because some populations just don't find themselves walking into a therapist's office, or a clinic, or a hospital to receive mental health counseling. But it's ways you can reach certain parts or reach populations by positioning yourself out in the community. So I definitely see myself being more in the community, which I'm kind of already in the community anyway, but definitely being more involved in developing community programs, community-based programs, and just being out there, giving back. So social psychology, doing research, community psychology. There's industrial organizational psychology that I've been thinking about, and that's in the realm of working with companies and organizations. So basically in IO, industrial organizational psychology, they study behavior within companies to see how to bring about effective change to increase the functioning of the company, and which usually impacts the profits and everything else. It impacts the bottom line. But sometimes there are conflicts that pop up within organizations that need to be resolved, and they usually bring in a consultant or IO psychologist to work within that conflict to help resolve that conflict. So I can see myself doing something like that, because I'm kind of already doing something like that. Even before I started my PhD program, I've been a consultant, I've been a manager, I've been like an agent, I've been many different roles, been an assistant to authors who are business owners, who are self-employed, and even other people within the literary industry who own their companies. I've kind of been a very important piece in their company, more so like on the consulting side. So I can see myself doing that, working. And I think I'm drawn towards like working in business anyway, because I myself am a business owner. So I can see myself in that realm. I know business language, I know like the flavor of business. So it won't be like foreign territory for me to work in. So yeah, what kind of companies? I don't know. Just many different companies. I mean, IO psychologists, they work in school settings as consultants in the school setting, work in hospital setting. I mean, a range. Government, and being that I kind of have an interest in working within government and politics. So I wonder what that will look like, though. And yeah, excuse me for the background noise, but I wonder what that will look like working with governments, different levels of government, whether it's local, state, federal. I think I got the skin to do that, but I wonder what type of role I would have. I have to do some more research on that. So yeah, and even in entertainment, definitely entertainment world, I can see myself working in that realm as a psychologist, because entertainers have psychologists too. I mean, even on sets, I was talking to a colleague, she told me that they actually have psychologists who work on film sets. I'm like, wow, interesting. So I can see myself doing that. So that's social, community, IO. Then you have clinical psychology, which usually clinical psychologists, they work in private practice, a good number of them, but many of them also work in hospital settings and in clinics, and they assess people, and they diagnose and they treat people within that type of setting. So they work with people who have depression, schizophrenia, anxiety, bipolar, things like that. I've already been doing that. Like, that's pretty much the meat of my training now, is what I'm already doing, and I've already done that previously before my PhD program, where I worked in clinical settings. Now, if you guys are watching, I'm interested in knowing who's tuning in and what is your association to psychology. If you've ever taken a psychology class, or maybe you're a therapist, maybe you have an interest in the field, and maybe you want to train to become a psychologist. Feel free to share, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. But clinical psychology, yeah. Yeah, I can see myself working in the hospital setting. I mean, I've worked in hospitals before. I worked in psychiatric hospitals at the bachelor's level, working as a mental health technician. I worked as a therapist intern in hospitals, doing intakes. I've led groups in psychiatric hospitals, and working with psychiatric patients be pretty, it's exciting. It really is, because they have like beautiful stories that they tell, and they just have these very unique personalities. And one thing I can say is that working with psychiatric patients, your day gonna go about like that. I remember working in a psych hospital, both actually in Tallahassee and Jacksonville, Florida, and the day just flew by. It went by so fast. So, because it's busy. It stays busy. It's always something to do, and they kind of keep you on your toes. So it's kind of fast-paced, which I like, the fast-paced environment. And let's see, I've worked in a residential psychiatric setting with children, so I have a lot of experience working in the realm of clinical psychology. But I'm wondering, what it would be like to kind of step outside of that realm. There's child adolescent psychology, so it's more specific to a certain population, whereas the others may be general, so you can work with children, adolescents, adults. But this particular realm of psychology, child adolescent, is focused on that. So I can see myself doing that, because even with the population that I work with now, which ranges from children through adults, is that I realize like children and adolescents, they have big problems, man. Like, you think that, mental health is just something that is associated with adults, but no, like children, they be having some serious issues. And I feel like if you can nip it in the bud early on, like get them the services that they need early on, it makes a huge difference. And I remember before I got my bachelor's degree, I had this vision to launch an after-school program. And I developed this whole curriculum. I actually developed a business plan. Like, I still have it, actually. I have a name for it and everything. Website, like, I have it, it's there. But it's just a matter of, number one, getting the funds to launch the program, and getting licensed, like there's a certain type of license, child care license, that I'll need to get. And yeah, but outside of that, like, I have the experience, I have the passion for it, and I definitely have people who are interested in signing their kids up. It's just a matter of the money, the time too. It's a huge time commitment. Although after school programs typically run from like 2 to 6 p.m. in the afternoon hours after school, it's a huge time commitment to own an after-school program, to run it. So I'm wondering the level of capacity that I actually want to serve with this, or be affiliated with this. Like, I know I want to own one, but I don't know the degree of, or the capacity that I'll be working. I'm thinking about hiring an after-school program director, because I'm just like, I like to travel. I like to do a number of different things, and just to be at that place and at this specific time every single day, I don't know. Still something I have to decide and to debate on. But definitely, like, children are my passion, working with children and adolescents, because I myself was a very troubled teenager, and yeah, let's leave it at that. So that's my heart. Children and adolescents, I have to emphasize that. Working in child adolescent psychology is definitely my heart and my passion. Then there's forensic psychology, and I've been thinking about this in quite some detail, because I think it was my former clinical supervisor who, he would like bring us different job postings during our supervision to tell us, okay, what's out there, who's hiring, what the pay look like, what kind of work we'll be doing. And I remember he did this twice. He brought us this ad for this job opening for internships. I think it was was it pre-doc or post-doc? I think it was post-doc. For postdocs, so this is after I get my PhD, and even for licensed psychologists, they're looking for, and the pay is pretty decent. Like, they start at 6 figures. It's pretty decent, even without a license. So all you need is just a degree, a PhD, and you start off making like 6 figures. So I'm like, dang. It's working in a state prison and it's actually in California, I think like Northern California, but it's in the middle of nowhere. So he said, and we were talking about in supervision, I remember how it's the reason why they have the salary set like that, because it's like nobody wants that job, essentially. Nobody wants that job, and not only that, but they don't want to live in that area because it's like, it's secluded, there's nothing out there, you know, but trees and just land, you know, and it's boring. And I'm a city girl, I like to be around people and just be alive, around like energy, you know, but it's something to consider. And I wouldn't do it necessarily for the money. I would do it just for the excitement, I think, because it's just a different environment. And I believe, like, you know, the prison population is one of those, like, challenging, so to speak, populations that a lot of people just don't want to work with. And I myself is a little bit different. Like, while people kind of shy away from the challenging situations, like, I'm drawn to it. That makes me want to do it even more. That motivates me. So I can see myself definitely working in that capacity with the prison population. But I wonder how long, because they said it's like a high turnover rate and it's like a high incidence of burnout. So I'm like, do I really want to do that? Like, am I trying to kill myself early on in my career as a psychologist or what? So it's something to think about. I'm like, or even in the jails. And that's another thing. As I think about different options for my third practicum placement, I was thinking about applying to a jail. I'm thinking about doing that, applying to LA County Jail to see. And I think they're probably going to let me in. I don't see what reason why they wouldn't, you know. I haven't worked in a jail, no, but I have worked with juveniles. I work with juvenile sex offenders. So they were in treatment, outpatient treatment. They were already charged and all of that, sentenced, and that was their thing that they had to do. They had to go to treatment, outpatient, actually at a day school. So I did that when I was living in Jacksonville, Florida, and that was pretty interesting. And that's the thing. I don't look at people as their diagnosis. I look at them for who they are. They're people. They're human beings. You know, so although, yes, they had this label of sex offender, it's like I connected with them in a very special way. And they were all boys. And it just touched my heart. I think it's just children and teenagers. They just touch me. They do something to my heart. They really warm my heart, y'all. Y'all want to see me get all mushy inside? Then bring some kids around me. So, yeah, something to think about. Even working with juvenile offenders. In juvenile detention. I can see myself doing something like that. We'll see. And then there's wealth psychology. This is this new arena of psychology that, you know, people are talking about. It's getting a lot of buzz. And it's basically working with the wealthy, as the name implies. Working with people who have money, billionaires, you know, even millionaires, but I guess mainly closest to words like the billion, multi-millionaires, let's put it that way. Like people who got wealth, real money. And I'm thinking, now, I don't know nothing about a billionaire, but millionaires, I think I can more closely identify with. So, something to consider. That's like working with celebrities, too, you know, because celebrities are multi-millionaires. And, yeah, and especially living out in Hollywood, I'm thinking, I can see myself doing that, and even especially in entertainment. And I'm thinking about particularly working with, like, YouTubers, the rising celebrities, you know? And the rising artists, because they have their own set of issues, especially associated around being on camera and this whole pressure of, I guess, trying to become famous. It's like, I get it. I can see where they are and be able to meet them where they are. So that's something. I'm thinking. And I already have connections too. So, I mean, period. No matter, I think, what area, especially if it's like outpatient or let's say private practice, I don't think I have an issue with getting clients, because I'm already in the business world, so I definitely know how to market myself and how to build up a clientele. That's a piece of cake for me. I actually help other people, other business owners, build up their clientele, so I definitely know how to do that. But I'm something to think about, working with YouTubers. can see myself doing that. Celebrities, even in working with media personalities too. You know, this whole thing about reality TV stars. I can see myself doing that. And then the last, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. The last but not least is working in military psychology. Something I've been thinking about. These are all different areas of psychology that I've been actually seriously thinking about working in the long run. So military psychology, I guess I kind of got my interest peaked with that was because we had a few recruiters been coming to our school. We had, I think first it was the Army, and then most recently we had the Air Force come up to our school, and they're trying to recruit us. They're trying to get us signed up, you know. And the first step would be to apply for their APA internship, because they also have APA internship placements within the military. APA is the American Psychological Association, so it's like the badge. It's like the standard of approval, the stamp of approval in our industry. And so, like, organizations or, you know, agencies, they're APA accredited, and that's a good thing. You want to be affiliated with a place that's APA accredited, whether it's your school or whether it's your internship, you know, or postdoc. APA is a good thing, and they usually definitely pay you more than the others that are not accredited. And so, yeah, working in the military. But I was thinking, even when as the recruiters was talking to us, I'm like, is this something that, I don't know, like, I love a challenge, but it would mean me entering a whole new different culture, a totally different culture. And I actually asked the recruiter, I was like, well, I have to cut my dreads, and they told me that basically they have this requirement where your bun has to be like, I think 3 inches or something. So I have to wear my hair like up like this, wrap all, like, nah, that ain't gonna work. I probably will have to cut my hair, because even when I wrap my hair, that bun is gonna be, my buns are pretty thick. I ain't wear my hair in the bun, but I know if I was to put all my hair in the bun, it's gonna be a pretty thick bun. But the recruiters actually said that the military is becoming more lax with their requirements, and they even allowing people with tattoos and stuff, not facial tattoos, I think, but like just tattoos like on their sleeve. I don't have no tattoos, by the way, but they trying to make it seem like they're becoming more relaxed. But I think they're just trying to pique our interest, you know, and get us to sign up, and then we just cross that bridge when we get there. But that's something to think about. I'm just like, I don't know, it's a whole different culture, man, and there's too many restrictions, and you can't do this and you can't do that. And I'm like, I'm wondering, are all those restrictions worth it? Like, is it worth it? Whereas being in private practice, or, you know, being a community psychologist or industrial organization psychologist, it seems like I would have a little bit more freedom just to be Danielle, you know, and that's like what I kind of want to be. Like, within the military, it's just so, all this set structure and these rules, you know, and policies, and if you break it, then, you know, you face discipline. It's just, I don't know, it's too much. I'm thinking about that part, but at the same time, I realize there's a need for psychologists in the military. If anybody needs a psychologist, usually it's the soldiers, you know. They come back from war and they traumatized, so I'm just like, gotta be another way around that, though. Maybe I don't have to join the military, but I can still give back and help military veterans. So we shall see. I'm just curious. What do you guys think? What kind of psychologist do you think that I will be good at? You tell me. And if you guys have an interest in the field of psychology, feel free to share it below and ask any questions that you have. I'm actually about to go grab me some food. I'm sitting here chilling at the YMCA. The sun is setting. And yeah, it's been a long day for me. I had my presentation today with my group and my consultation class. It's kind of like an IO class, actually, where we actually develop and create our own consultation company, and we find some consultees that we end up working with. It's a pretty interesting class. I like it. It gives us like hands-on experience and consulting work. But you know what, thank you for the likes, thank you for the love, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.